All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We are live here on this webinar. If you saw me in Las Vegas yesterday, I took a red-eye flight just to be here with Dave for today's webinar. And we put this together here with the MSP Success webinar series as really a special event. And I went to Dave just to introduce a little bit and brag on Dave of where he is, the guy, the go-to for selling online, selling from stage, selling on webinars here. We use him all the time. He's been the MC at boot camp for a number of years. So if you slightly recognize him, that might be where you remember him from. But I asked Dave about a month and a half ago. I said, hey, would you be willing to come on? I know you're doing really well with this whole 17-minute webinar or the short form webinar series. And he's actually worked with MSP clients as well. He talked about this at boot camp back in May, and so some experience with this. And so I asked him to come on as a special one-time only webinar here. Dave is super busy. He's booked out for months on end, but he carved out the time to be able to bring it to you guys. He has got a ton of information to share with you today. Here's the one thing from a housekeeping item that I want to make sure that you're aware before we get started is that because we've got so much information to go through and just a little bit of time here, this is not a 17-minute webinar today, because Dave's going to walk you through everything step by step of what to do with this. We're going to hold all the questions to the end. You can wear us out with any questions that you have at the end of the webinar. So go ahead and post those up. I'm going to be watching. If I know the answer to it, then I'll go ahead and post it up if it's something easy that I already know with it. But post those questions out there in the Q&A, and then we will promise to be able to get to them here before we wrap up there. But I'm going to let Dave just fly through everything. But with that, Dave, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Jeff, and thanks for taking the red eye back so you can be here with us. I think it was actually because you wanted to sleep in your bed. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm going to take it that you flew back because you wanted to be with me. I'll take it like that.
Absolutely. That's what I told everyone. That's how I got out of it and said, nope, sorry, I got to go here. I got to go jump on a plane, not being rude, but I got a webinar with Dave D tomorrow that I can't take from a hotel or an airplane.
It takes priority, right? Well, thanks, Jeff. I really appreciate it. Hey, everybody, welcome. This is the webinar about how to attract more clients with 17-minute webinars. Now, just as a disclaimer, it doesn't necessarily have to be 17 minutes. It can be anywhere from 10 minutes to a maximum of 20 minutes. And honestly, this is a new streamlined way of doing things. It's not the only way to do things, as we'll talk about, but it is so powerful. And quite frankly, it's not difficult to put together. So in the next 45 minutes, you're going to discover how to attract more leads, all right, using this short form webinar model, how to capture their contact information, and then how to use these short webinars to educate your prospects as well as position you as the obvious expert, and then motivate your very best prospects to schedule appointments with you. So that's what this is all about. It's about getting people on your calendar, but these folks are your ideal prospects, your very best prospects. And when you put all of this together, because the short form webinar, quite honestly, is one piece of what I call a client attraction machine. So we're going to go over each piece of it. So this is for you if you want a modern way that's really easy to use, that runs on autopilot, that attracts your very best prospects, and is obviously going to end up making you more money. So if that sounds like you, do me a favor and type "oh yeah" into the chat. Type "oh yeah" into the chat. That way we can also know that you can see and hear us. So let's see here. I'm going to check the chat here. Hey, thanks, Mark. Thanks. Wow, they're coming in fast and furious. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Scott. I'm sorry I can't read everybody's names, but I appreciate it. Okay, so let's talk about, though, who your very best prospects are, all right? So number one, your very best prospects think of you as the expert. Right. So they think of you as the expert, meaning they're not searching around for other people or other solutions. They've decided that you are the person who that they should be talking to. Next is that they're pre-sold on working with you. The best scenario to be in when you're doing an initial consultation, initial strategy session, initial meeting, whatever you call it, is to have the prospect pretty much pre-sold on working with you before you actually before they actually get on the phone with you, you're meeting via Zoom or you're meeting in person. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that today. The next thing is they can afford to pay your fees, right? So they could think of you as the expert. They can be pre-sold on working with you. However, if they can't afford your service, then it doesn't make any difference. So we want to make sure that they fit into this criteria. The next thing, and this is one of the keys, that they want to talk to you, that they actually want to engage with you. And we're going to show you how this client attraction machine actually makes that happen. Number 5 is that they are ready to take immediate action. So it cuts out a lot of the, well, I want to think about it, and all of that type of stuff. So they're ready to take action. They're motivated. They know you. They like you. They trust you. They consider you to be the expert. They can afford to pay your fees, and they're actually looking forward to having the conversation with you. Now, so my goal today is to share with you this machine. So once installed in your business, you're going to attract those very best prospects that are perfect for you. And I think everyone would agree that if we can be talking to those prospects more on a regular basis, obviously we're going to be doing a lot better. And so my goal is so that you guys look like these kids right here once you have this machine installed. That's my favorite picture, by the way. I use that image in almost everything that I do. I just love those kids. But honestly, I want you to feel that kind of excitement about this because it is this powerful and it is new and it is cutting edge, but it is proven as well. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about here. The first thing is very, very briefly, because I've got a lot of material to cover. We're going to talk about why you should listen to me. The only reason we're covering that is so that you know that I'm actually the real deal and that you're getting information from somebody who knows what they're talking about. Again, Robin and Jeff and the whole team at Technology Marketing Toolkit wouldn't have me on if I wasn't the real deal. But I just want to give you a very, very brief background about who I am. The next thing is we're going to go over the overall framework. All right. And so I'm going to give you an overview of how this all works, but then we're going to take a deep dive into each component so you understand it. And as Jeff said, if you have any questions, please enter them into the Q&A section. Jeff is going to be monitoring that, and I'll stay on until all your questions are answered, honestly. All right. So any question that you have, anything that's not clear, anything that you're wondering, well, wait a minute, how does that work? Please ask. And then finally, I'm going to share with you how you can implement this, a couple ways that you can get all of this done. All right. So why should you listen to this guy on this webinar other than Technology Marketing Toolkit is promoting this special educational webinar? Well, basically, I've been helping folks who sell professional services, folks just like you. And in fact, I've helped a lot of folks just like you, as you'll see, grow their business for the past 20 years. So I've been doing this for a really, really long time. I really have a proven track record. Now, it started, I used to be a professional magician. That's right, a professional magician. That was my lifelong goal. That was my lifelong dream ever since I was 8 years old, was to do this. And I practiced and I got really good. And I thought if I was just really good at delivering my service, and by the way, my service was entertainment, right? So it's really no different than any other service provider. I was just providing entertainment. Now, I didn't understand that at this time. I thought that if I was just really good at delivering my service, that I would be successful, because that's what basically everyone is taught. Just get really good. Right? Get really good, be a master of what you do, and you'll be successful. Well, I quickly discovered that was not the case, that being good at what I did wasn't enough. And it's really true for any business. And it's one of the most difficult things for people to understand because they honestly don't want it to be that way, right? So I'm sure you would like it because I know that you're probably really good at what you do. In a quote fair world, well, the person who was best at what they did would be the most successful. But that's simply not the case. Now, I'm not saying, by the way, that you don't need to be good at what you do. Obviously, you do, because if you don't, the process that we're going to go through is just going to accelerate how quickly the marketplace knows that you're not good at what you do. But I needed to figure out how to get clients. You see, I was only doing 3 shows a month at the time. And these were not big productions, right? These were small, tiny shows. And it really came to the point where I had to decide, hey, am I actually going to make this into a business, make my dream a reality? Or am I going to get a regular job and just kind of do this thing part-time on the side? But I obviously didn't want to get a regular job. Honestly, that would feel like death to me, to work for someone else. And so what I did is I got to studying. I started studying marketing and sales and earnest, because I discovered that it's much more important to be a master marketer than it is to be a master at providing my service. I actually heard that from a guy by the name of Dan Kennedy, who I'm sure most of you have heard of before. And at first I fought against that. Well, that's not the way it should be. The person who's best at delivering the service should get the most money. But it's not true. The person who's best at marketing and sales is the one that gets the most money, provided that after they get the client, they can deliver. And so I started really studying, and most importantly, I started implementing. In fact, I bought programs and joined programs and coaching programs that honestly, I didn't think I could afford. But I remembered something that the late, great Jim Rohn said. Jim Rohn, if you don't know, is Tony Robbins' mentor. Jim Rohn once said that successful people invest in themselves and their education, and that's why they're successful. So my thinking was, well, if I want to be successful, I need to do what successful people did. So even though I didn't think I could afford it, I did these things. But most importantly, I implemented, and I implemented really quickly. And I just started doing stuff. And because of that, I cracked the code. And once I cracked the code, everything changed for me. So I went from doing 3 shows a month to averaging 25 shows a month in less than 90 days. So just translate that to where your business is. So you're getting 3 clients a month, and now you're getting 25 clients a month. So everything changed for me. I paid off $80,000 in debt in a year. I bought a new house, bought a new car, and I was living my dream. Well, then what happened is that word of my success spread, and I got invited to speak at different business conferences. So the first business conference I went to, I spoke at Dan Kennedy's. And of course, because I was a great testimonial for Dan. But then from that, I started speaking at other conferences. In fact, that's a picture of me. I'm the little guy there on stage. This is in Italy in front of 5,000 Italian entrepreneurs. It was really cool because they all had the headsets on for the translation, because I don't speak Italian. And then I've spoken on stages with Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank. Obviously, I was at the last event, the last boot camp for Technology Marketing Toolkit. I was not only the MC, but I spoke. And so I got on stage with Kevin O'Leary too. He paid me such a great compliment. He actually watched my presentation backstage. And he came over to me from the green room and he said, that was absolutely terrific. And then he went out on stage and said, I don't really know who that last guy was, which was unfortunate, but whatever, you should watch what he was doing, because that's how you're supposed to do it. Okay, so I've been on stages with Emmitt Smith, NFL Hall of Fame running back. This is one of my favorites, Penn Jillette and I. He's from Penn and Teller fame. We're backstage practicing a fire trick. And if you look very closely at that picture, you'll see how close that flame is actually to my head. Yes, and that's me lighting a cigarette, which I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. Not a pretty picture when I actually did it on stage. And then, of course, most of you will know who this is. This is Nito Quabain. And again, I met Nito multiple times at the Technology Marketing Toolkits boot camps. So as a result of speaking on all of these stages all over the world, smart business owners started asking me for my advice. Now, the reason I say that they were smart is because they realized that although my initial service that I was selling was entertainment, it was really just like any other business. I needed to generate leads. I needed to close sales over the phone or in person. By the way, I did both. When I started doing corporate, I closed a lot of sales in person in front of a boardroom. I had to deliver the service. I needed to get referrals and repeat business, just like any other business. It was show business, but it was business. But the real reason that you should be listening to me is not because I've spoken on stages, not because of my stories, but because of results I've gotten for people. So this is Vance Morris, and here's what he has to say. And again, the reason I'm showing you these is not to say, oh, look at how great Dave is, but rather so you know that what you're about to learn works. So the results are in. I did my first micro webinar following Dr. D's system. That's what he calls me, outlined. And I had 57 registered, 39 showed up, and 7 people bought, and 3 more people bought on the replay. Just listen to the good doctor and do what he says. This is one of your own. This is Adam Spencer. Adam is talking about, he says, in fact, I signed up for managed plan before they left the seminar, and we signed new contracts that add up to a value of $198,720. Here's another one of your own. He says he's been using my materials and generated over $100,000 in revenue from just 3 events. This is also one of yours. This is Barbara. Barbara has actually flown from Canada to Atlanta to work with me privately. And she said, after you helped me create my webinar and shorten it, I landed a whale and doubled my business overnight. Now, by the way, I am definitely not promising you that if you follow the system I'm going to teach you here today that you are going to double your business overnight, okay? The point is that the stuff that I teach about webinars works, all right? So that's why you should listen to me. Now let's get to the good stuff. So this is where you're going to want to start taking really, really good notes. And so let's go over the framework of the short form webinar model. And then, as you can see, we're going to take a deep dive into each piece of it. Again, if you've got questions, simply enter them into the question area, and we'll make sure that we handle those. Okay, so here's the problem. Now, I use traditional webinars. I teach how to use webinars. I teach how to construct a webinar, an entire what I call a feature length webinar funnel. But here's the problem with traditional webinars as lead generation. Asking a cold lead to sign up for a webinar and then show up for the webinar and then sit through a 60-minute webinar, that's a really, really big ask. So typically what happens, now not in all cases, but typically what happens, and by the way, I've literally done thousands of webinars, and so have my clients and my customers. And they almost all find the same thing. Yes, you can get people to register, but the show up rate for a full length webinar is really, really low. And the conversion rate is low as well. And that's because it's a really big ask. You're saying, hey, okay, here's the webinar. It's going to be on this date, on this time. People get excited. Some put it on their calendar, some don't put it on their calendar, but then life happens. And they had all intents and purposes of showing up, all intentions of doing that, and then they don't. And it's simply because they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you at this point, right? And so life happens. So it's not a priority. Now, with that being said, I want to be crystal clear about this. Webinars are a superior conversion device. In fact, the only better conversion device other than a webinar is an in-person presentation, okay? But they are superior for leads who are already on your list. So what I do is every month, I do at least one webinar to my unconverted leads. But those are people who are already on my list, who are already getting what I call my daily D-mail. Get it? D-mail, email. Okay. So, all right. So if you've got leads already, doing a webinar, a full-length webinar is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But short form webinars are great as a lead generation tool. And here's why. So let's talk about the what. What is this whole short form webinar thing that I'm talking about? The first thing is it is a tremendous lead generation magnet. So we've got reports, we've got video, we've got all different kinds of things. But in just a minute, I'm going to share with you why it is such a powerful lead generation magnet. And today, it's the best lead generation magnet. So these are, as I mentioned at the top, 10 to a maximum of 20 minutes. And one of the reasons, as you'll see when we go through the model and I show you the web pages and how to construct all of this, is that you're going to let people know that it's a 10-minute, a 12-minute, a 17-minute thing that they're going to watch. And when we get to the why, you'll see why that's so important. The next thing is that it provides really good information that your best prospects want to know. Now, remember, right now, I'm just giving you an overview of this. We're going to take a deep dive into all of this, okay? So the next thing is they position you as the obvious expert. And that's what we want to be positioned as, the obvious expert. The person, hey, if I'm going to get this done, so for example, if I'm going to tighten up my cybersecurity, boom, this is the person. No question about it. This is the person I'm going to. All right. So that's the what of short form webinars. Now here is the why. Number one, they quickly provide information to your best prospects and information that your best prospects want to know. And I'm going to share with you in just a little bit how you determine what this information should be, because obviously that's mission critical to the success of this. But quickly, right? So I don't need to download a PDF. How many of you have opted in and given your name and email address to get this report, this PDF, and you downloaded it and you never opened it up? Almost all of us have, right? I know I have. I've got some right now in my downloads on my MacBook in the download section. And I may never get to them because, again, stuff happens. The next thing is video. So the number 2 search engine right now is YouTube. And I don't need to tell you guys, this video is proliferating everywhere. It's taking over the internet. And by the way, short videos are taking over the internet. Short videos. Okay? So you got Instagram, short videos, TikTok, short videos. Right? So people are not sitting through these massive long videos. They're not downloading a report. Or they might be downloading, but they're not going to read a 64-page report anymore. That's not what's happening. Number 2, these short form webinars, they get superior opt-in rates. And I'm going to show you exactly why they get superior opt-in rates. And I'm going to show you an actual opt-in page so you can really understand what I'm talking about here. But your opt-in rates will be better for this definitely better than a full-length webinar, definitely better than for a report or a book or anything else. Okay. Now, by the way, I want to clarify something here. I'm not saying that you should not be using reports, that you shouldn't be using books, that you shouldn't be using direct mail. You should be doing all of this stuff. But as an entry point, these short form webinars are so powerful. And another reason is they get higher consumption than books, PDF reports, and other things. Why? 2 reasons. One, they're short. So your prospect is like, oh yeah, I want that information. Yeah, I'm interested in it. Oh, it's just 10 minutes. I can spare 10 minutes right now to watch this. Number 2, they get instant access to it. So they don't have to take any other steps. They don't have to check their email to get a link to download it. Once they give you their name they don't have to download anything. Once they give you their name and email address, they can instantly watch the video. And because it's short, they will watch it right then and there. Now, I know that there are some, quote, marketing gurus out there who will tell you that it doesn't matter if they consume your PDF because now you've got the lead and you can follow up. That's a bunch of BS. That's a bunch of BS. We want them to consume our information because by consuming our information, provided that it's good, and it will be if you do what I tell you to do on this training here today, it sets you up. It sets you up as the expert. You provide tremendous value. It sets up hey, I want to have an appointment with this person, a consultation with this person. So very, 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 very powerful. All right. So much higher consumption, and it's got a built-in call to action. So we're going to go through the structure of the short form webinar, but as you'll see where the call to action is. And of course, your call to action is going to be to schedule a consultation with you, initial strategy session with you. And it sets you up for a very specific, very different, high converting follow-up sequence. And when I tell you about the sequence and I show you the sequence, this is not like any follow-up sequence you've been taught before or that anyone in your industry other than people who have worked with me are using. But I'm going to show it to you. It's very, very different. Okay. So let's take a look at this chart here, and it looks confusing, but it's really not. Okay, so at the top here in the green is, again, this is an overview. Then we're going to dive literally into each one of these pieces. Again, if you've got questions, enter them in. So we've got our leads. So our leads are being generated whatever way you generate leads, Facebook, direct mail, whatever way you're generating leads, your leads are going to be driven to a very simple page. Okay. So this, and I'm going to show you the actual page. The page is extremely simple. It's on this page here that they are going to give you their contact information. Once they give you their contact information, they are going to go and get immediate access to the video, right? So I am not a believer in sending out a link that make them go to their email in order to watch the video, especially with you who are selling business to business, all right? So we want to give them instant access to it because we want them to consume it. Now, the other thing that happens once they give you their name and email address is that there is an email sequence that goes out, which is also automated. All of this is automated, but let's just take it horizontally here. So they watch the video. Now they have a decision to make at the end of the video. Do I want to schedule an appointment with this person? Do they want to schedule an appointment with you? If it's yes, they go to a special page where they're going to fill out a very simple questionnaire, and then they go to your online calendaring system and they're on your calendar, okay? Now that's if everything goes exactly according to plan. Well, obviously, not everyone who watches this video is going to be ready to schedule a consultation with you. And here is an important statistic I want you to burn into your brain, because this, not just for this, but for any marketing that you're doing, okay? Here it is. Studies have shown that ready for this? Only 15% of people who request information about a service, regardless of what the service is, only 15% will make a decision to take the next step. And so in all of our cases, it's to schedule an appointment, will take the next step within the first 90 days. So out of everyone who's going to take action, only 15% of those people will take action in the first 90 days. After that, the remaining 85%, I really want you to get this, okay? I really want you to burn this into your brain. After the 85% that's remaining can take up to 18 months to make a decision. Most people, they generate a lead and they don't follow up consistently. And therefore, they're leaving the vast majority of their money, their sales, on the table. So what we have here is a very unique follow-up sequence. These are automated emails, but they're not like automated emails you've seen before. I'm going to share with you exactly what they are. What these emails do here is they ask for a reply. They ask for a reply to the email, just like the way human beings communicate with email, right? You send out an email to somebody, you expect a reply back. That's how these emails are written. Now, again, I'm going to go over this in much more detail in just a few minutes, but understand. So what happens is in each one of these emails, there's a link to your calendar, to the chat with us page, or that's really the questionnaire page. I just call it chat with us page. All right. So they can either go there or they'll email you. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Wait a minute, I don't want to get all of these emails. Hold your horses. We're going to get to that. Let me just give you the overview first. If they email you, if they reply to your email, they're removed from the campaign. And then right here where it says personal emails, what you're going to do is you are going to then engage them in a dialogue via email, which will end up, now you're not giving free advice. That's not what's happening. Then what will happen is they will go to your calendar and then you have the appointment. This is such a great path. The path from the emails, it's actually even better in many cases than the direct path from, they go to the landing page, they give you their name and email address, they watch the video, and then they go and schedule a consultation. Why? Because as you see with these emails, what happens is they know you, they like you, they trust you. They are ready to do business with you with this path right here. Now, there's one other thing on here that I want to talk to you about briefly, and that's where it says unconverted. So if you look right over on the left-hand side, it says unconverted. Please understand this. If you currently have a list of leads that you've generated that have not turned into clients, honestly, this system is the biggest no-brainer in the history of Earth. And I'm going to show you a case study of somebody who did exactly this. You send a very specific email, which I'm going to show you, a very specific email driving your unconverted leads to this page to opt in to watch your video, and you will book appointments like right away. It is so magical. It's going to make your head spin. And when I go through the case study and show you what the email looks like, if you have got unconverted leads, you got to do this. I mean, because there's gold right now in those unconverted leads. Remember, only 15% are going to take action in the first 90 days. So even if you have a list of unconverted leads that are 2 or 3 years old, like I'm going to show you, you can convert them to appointments. You can convert them to consultations. Okay, so that's the framework. Now let's go over, let's take a deep dive into how all of these component pieces work. And it's really not that complicated. All right, so the landing page, the first thing, you want to keep the landing page simple. So what you have here is, this looks like it is a video, right? So here's an important point. And again, it goes for any type of lead generation. So, but since we're talking about short form webinars, this is what we're going to use as the example. Whenever you're driving traffic to a page, when someone comes to that page, the only thing on that page should be the information that they're looking for, or a way for them to get that information. And it has to match exactly what your ad is. So let's say you're advertising in Facebook and you're saying that you've got this 12-minute micro training, this 12-minute video that people can watch. When they come to the page, you want it, you can't miss this, right? This is why your opt-in rates are so high. There's a single purpose for this page. There's no external links. And they know immediately they're in the right place. Here's the thing. When someone comes from Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever they're coming from, if they don't immediately know that they're in the right place, they're gone. So we keep the page ultra simple. So this looks like it is the video, but it's not the video. It's an image of the video. And it says right down here, click to get access. So whether they click down here to get access or they click on what looks like the play button, this comes up. All right. And so it's basically the same exact copy that's beneath it. So now we get their name and email address. That is the simplest page on the planet. You've got an image of the video and a pop-up. So when they click on the page, really anywhere, this pops up. So now they give you their name and email address, just as we talked about. The next thing is they go to the video page. And again, you're going to keep it simple. All you're going to do is actually have the video on this page. That's all it is, everybody. So nothing else on the page. Now, what happens here, by the way, is at the end of this video, when you get to your call to action, underneath this video, what you will see is a button appears for them to talk to you, to schedule time to talk to you. And you want to have that timed at the right thing. But again, this is very, very simple. So as I mentioned to you, I personally like to give people, I've said on the previous page, you're going to get instant access to this micro training, this 12-minute micro training. So that to me means instant access. It doesn't mean, hey, go check a page that says, hey, go check your email. No, you give them access to the video because we want them to consume it. They know it's 12 minutes long, they're 10 minutes long, 11 minutes long, they click it. And because the way it's designed, I'm going to show you how to design this short little webinar, which is on autopilot, by the way. They don't have to schedule a time to watch it or anything like that to get instant access to it. I'm going to show you how you engage them. In fact, I'm going to give you the exact wording for the beginning of the video, okay? Now, the next thing is, here is this actual formula. Number one, and write this down. Number one, you need a hot title. You need a hot title. The hot title is crucial. What you call this is one of the most important things, because what you call this short form webinar, now I like to either call it, by the way, I like to call it a micro training. If you're selling to business to consumer, which most of you are not, then I like to call it a consumer awareness message. But the hot title is important because you're going to use that in your marketing. So you're going to use that as a secondary reason for response if you're sending out postcards. You're going to use it as the main call to action if you're using Facebook, or if you're using a Google AdWords or Google Display Network or whatever, or LinkedIn or whatever you're using. So the title's got to grab the prospect by their throat and bring them in. The classic story, and this is a true story, there was a book. The name of the book was Astrological Love. And it was by a woman by the name of Nora Hayden. And this book was just dying on the vine, right? Nobody was buying this book. And so then a smart marketer looked at it, went through the book and said, you know what? The content of this book is really good. I think if we just change the title, you can have something here. And so they changed the title. So again, the content remained relatively the same. The title changed. And here was the title change from Astrological Love to How to Satisfy a Woman Every Time and Have Her Beg for More. Okay. Which one do you think sold more copies? Right now, by the way, gentlemen, keep your attention here. You can go get that book on Amazon later. Okay. But keep your attention here right now. So that became a multi-million copy bestseller. So that's the importance of having a hot title. So the question that you want to ask yourself is, what is one piece of information your ideal prospect would love to know? Is there a problem? Is there something that they're thinking about? What would they, not what you want to share with them, what do they want to know? So let's just do a little workshop here so you can really get a lot of value from what we're talking about. So just type into the chat, like, what for your particular prospect, what keeps them awake at night? What is one piece of information that they just be dying to get their hands on? So type it into the chat. So just think about it. Just use your intuition. What is it that your prospects are really, truly, honestly interested in? It could be either something that they want or something that they fear that they need to know the answer to. So let me go see here. I see a couple people typed in some things. Oh, we got a lot of messages here. Okay, securing their business, breach prevention, perfect. Okay, what's the best voice over IP system? Financial loss. How to make my business unhackable. I think that's fantastic, by the way. How to make my business ransomware. Fantastic. What happens if your business gets hacked? Is my business safe from cyber threats? How do I spend less on IT? Fantastic, guys. A lot of these are just absolutely phenomenal. Like, how do I spend less on IT? Well, the nice thing about that one, by the way, is that you know that that's somebody's thinking about that. Okay. How to recover from a hack. How confident are you in your ability to detect and respond to a cyber attack in your business? Fantastic. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to make this a very tight, remember, we only have 12 minutes to anywhere from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, right? And the sweet spot's right around that 12-minute to 15-minute mark. So we want to have that one piece of information that we can do a deep dive. Now, here's exactly, so you're going to want to write this down. Here's exactly how you start this short form webinar. If you are blank, so if you are a chief technology officer and you want, and then you put in the thing that they want, okay? So if you're a chief technology officer, I'm just going to take one of these. It may not make sense, but I'm just going to pull one of them out there. So if you're a chief technology officer and you want to figure out how to lower your IT costs, then this will be one of the most important videos you watch this year. That's your opening. And what that does is so the minute they click play, you say, hi, my name is, you call them out. Okay, understand that. You call them out, who it's for. So they say, that's for me. And then you say, and you want to, then you talk about the big thing that they want, right? Then this will be one of the most important videos you watch all year. You grab their attention immediately. Now they're engaged and they want to watch the rest of this. Then you're going to deliver content. You're actually going to teach here. You're going to deliver content on the promise. The mistake that people make with this is they try to make this into a big sales event. Remember, guys, we've got 12 to 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes. So we do want to have content that sells, and there's a specific way to structure it, but we want to deliver valuable content here. We want to deliver really good content that fulfills on the promise. What I see a lot of people do, people who I've worked with on this, when they initially go through it, there's too much of the close and not enough content, right? The idea is to get people to think we're the obvious expert, to know us, like us, and trust us, right? And deliver the information that we promised, okay? So then you talk about who you are and why people should listen to you. By the way, I'm doing a feature length webinar now, but notice if you think about what I'm doing here, it's exactly this, right? So I said, hey, if you want this, if you want this, if you want this, right? And now I hope you agree that I'm delivering, if not over delivering on what I promised you, right? Then I talked about why people should listen to me. Now you don't make this a big, long, 20-minute thing because you only have a short period of time here, but your origin story is mission critical to your success. It is your origin story that's going to begin the process of getting people to like you. And so developing a powerful, engaging, and entertaining origin story is so important. Then you are going to introduce your offer. So your offer, in most, I would say 99.9% of the people who are watching this, is going to be to set up a call, to set up a consultation, whether that's via Zoom, over the phone, in person, whatever way you do it. So you introduce your offer. Now, by the way, just offering an initial consultation for free is not an irresistible offer. That is a piece of it, but it's not the entire offer. Then it's really important that you explain how it works. You explain how it works. So here's exactly what's going to happen. Write this down and remember, because again, this goes for any type of marketing that you're doing. A confused prospect, a prospect that's left with questions, is not going to take action. A confused prospect is not going to take action. So we want to let our prospects know immediately that we are going to, what's going to happen. So here's exactly what's going to happen on this consultation. So twice this year, Robin and Jeff has sent down a team to work with me privately. We've got my home in Atlanta. We set up a conference room here, and we created 2 of these short form webinars. And one of the things we really spent a lot of time on was, okay, well, what is going to happen? And so it really made the folks that were here, the team that was here from Technology Marketing Toolkit, think about their own process. Right. And so what was interesting, by the way, just as an aside, one of the teams, it was another division of the company, came down, and this was new. And so they didn't actually have a process yet. And so we actually created the process as we were creating the short form webinar. But you got to tell people what's going to happen so they feel very, very comfortable. So there's no ambiguity. And then you have your call to action. Your button appears at the bottom of the video. Okay. And the button is for them to click on it to fill out the application or the questionnaire, and then to schedule an appointment. So that's the structure. Now, this is huge. This is huge. Whenever you're doing this, whether it's in a sales letter, whether it's in a feature length webinar, short form webinar, whatever video, whatever it is, talk about the value of the consultation, not the value of hiring you. An error that most people make in not only short form webinars, but long webinars, is that they talk about the benefits that the prospect is going to get after they hire them. This is an error. Why is this an error? Because a prospect isn't there yet. So when you start talking about, well, after you work with us, all this great stuff's going to happen. No, the job of this, the job of any lead generation that's designed to get the person to schedule a call with you. Okay, I'm using the old phone here, by the way. I don't know if you noticed, I'm using like the old handheld phone and the dial. I'm dialing here. All right. So is to get them on the call. Then on the calls where you close them. So the problem happens in marketing when you try to get your piece of your marketing to do more than it's designed to do. So sell the value of just the consultation. And by the way, to answer a question, it doesn't have to be a free consultation. This can be for a paid consultation. Now, obviously, if it's for a paid consultation, you really got to explain the benefits of it. All right. So let's now look at the calendar and the application. Okay. So your call to action is to schedule a consultation. After they click, you're going to ask them to fill out a brief questionnaire. So Robert Cialdini, in his book called Influence, I'm sure most of you have read it. If you haven't, you got to read it. Influence, he talks about something called commitment and consistency. So what we're doing here is we're getting our prospect to make all of these little micro commitments. So they see your ad, they go to the website, micro commitment. They give you your name and email address, bigger commitment. They watch your video, bigger commitment. They give you your name, they click the button, even a little bit bigger commitment, fill out the questionnaire. And so what happens is by putting them through this process, you're weeding out people who are not your very best prospects, because we don't want to be spending our time talking to people that are not ready yet, right? We want them to be ready because it makes closing the sale a lot easier. Then the questionnaire further qualifies them and positions you. The prospect is then redirected to your online calendaring system. So it doesn't matter what calendaring system you use, you redirect them to an online calendaring system. Okay, now you might be wondering, the question you might be asking is, what about the people who do not schedule a consultation? Dave, you've been talking about that, not everyone who watches this short form webinar is going to schedule a consultation, and they're not, right? That's the truth. So what do? This is where the real magic happens. And quite honestly, this is so powerful. Like I said earlier, it's oftentimes even better than if the prospect makes it all the way through just on a horizontal plane, meaning they watch the video, they schedule the consultation. Here's where the magic happens. These are the email follow-ups. And again, whether you decide to go ahead and do this or not, you want to make sure that this is like a going to blow your mind strategy. These emails, these are going to be gentle, friendly, and non-marketing. In fact, they are going to appear to be a personal email that's coming from you. A personal email that's coming from you. So forget everything that anyone has ever taught you about email marketing. You want to really make these emails look like, man, these are personal. Now, the first one goes out immediately. They're going to know that first one that goes out immediately after they give you their name and email address is not a personal email, right? They're going to know that. But because that contains a video link. Now, although we give them instant access to the video, stuff happens. We want to make sure they can get back to that video. Then on day 2, you're going to send them an email that has a question. Here is the difference. You're asking them to reply to that question via email. I don't know if you guys have heard of a guy named Dean Jackson. He's a friend of Robin and mine, but this is his strategy, and it is brilliant. They're asking for a reply because that's how email was originally used. It was used as a communication device. So you're asking them to reply. On day number 4, you're having them do an activity and report back to you. So if you have for example, a cybersecurity checklist, you would have them fill out that checklist. Day number 6 is some cutting edge news. And day number 8 is you give them a really good piece of information. And then you say, hey, if you'd like further details on this, just reply back to this email and I'll shoot it over to you. Very casual language. And then day number 30 in this process, that's when you send the famous Dean Jackson 9-word email. So that is the process right there. Again, these emails are different because they are personal and they are expecting a reply. They're short, personal, and expecting a reply. Now, here is an actual case study. A financial advisor did exactly what I'm telling you. So if you remember on our chart, if you were here from the very beginning, on our chart, I showed you if you've got unconverted leads, you want to send them a short email, which drives them to the opt-in page to watch this video. So a financial advisor did this. He had dead leads. He said, these leads are dead. I haven't contacted these leads in up to 3 years. Well, he sent out the email and I'm going to show you the exact email. He got 400 personal responses. He reported back, I am happily overwhelmed. Why was he happily overwhelmed? Because he booked 28 appointments. I'm telling you, if you've got unconverted leads, this system is something that you must do because there's gold right there. It didn't cost him anything because he already had paid for that lead. Same thing with you. So what did that email look like? Here's what it looked like. This is an example of an email where you're asking them a question. And so in his case, you can see how easily this is to modify. He wrote, "Hi, what concerns you most about retirement? Please let me know by replying to this email and I'll send you the information." That's it. That's the entire email. So 400 people replied. 28 of them booked appointments. Now, before we go on any further, let me just say this. You don't have to personally reply to the emails. So by the way, this is the exact system I follow in my business, but I'm not replying to the emails. Initially, I wrote the responses, but now the emails actually go to my executive assistant. She has a database. I mean, it's not really a database is a really fancy word for what this is, but so that has all of the answers that I've already written from emails I've actually responded to. And so she's sending out the responses. Now, by the way, there'll be the same thing that I would do if I were to do it, but I'm not good at that kind of stuff. Like emails will stay in my inbox for 3 weeks before I reply to somebody. So the prospect now gets a reply instantly. It is my words. So she's not writing the words. They're my words that are being sent out. So you can systematize this so you aren't doing it yourself. But 28 appointments, by the way, this guy did it himself because he was like, wow, 28 appointments, pretty good. The cost of those appointments, $0. Okay, so here's the important point though. When a prospect replies to you, remove them from the campaign and you start a real conversation with you. Because remember, the emails that come after that first email seem very, very personal. And you don't want to send out, like if they're already in conversation with you, they already have a dialogue with you via email, you don't want to have the follow-up emails, automated follow-up emails go out as well, because it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's just do a quick review here, okay? Then we'll keep going. Number one, you're gonna drive traffic to a simple landing page. The prospect gives you their name and email address. The prospect watches the short form webinar. At the end, there's a call to action. The prospect schedules an appointment. If they don't schedule an appointment, automatically a unique email sequence starts and it gets your very best prospects to schedule appointments with you. So understand this one thing. Installing this, what I call client attraction machine with the short form webinar as the engine, it's really a game changer. I mean, it really is a game changer. Here's why. It's a new way to attract high quality prospects. It's a new way to get prospects to schedule appointments with you. It's a new way to pre-sell what you're offering and gain a competitive advantage. And it's a new way, obviously, to increase your profits and make more money. So the question that you should be asking is, well, how do I move from knowing what to do to implementing this in my business? So we just did the deep dive. Let's talk briefly about how to implement it. The first thing is to do it yourself. Okay, I just shared with you the complete model. I shared with you the complete model so you can do it yourself. But here's the truth about doing it yourself. That's the slow way, because you're going to have a lot of trial and error. You're going to have to create everything from scratch. Okay, so the faster way is to follow a proven method. And this will help you get results that you can see quickly in your bank account. So I want to invite you to something that I'm doing exclusively, actually, for a technology marketing toolkit, and it's called Webinar Mastery Academy. And let me explain to you exactly what this is. But before I do, let me tell you who this is not for, okay? This is not for folks that won't follow a process. This is a process. It's a system that's proven, okay? If you need to reinvent the wheel, you want to screw around with it, then this is not for you, right? You might as well just try to create it yourself. If you're not friendly and coachable, and I'll explain why, because I'm going to be working directly with you on putting this together, okay? And then it's also not for you if you equate value to bulk, because I'm not going to load you down with a bunch of stuff so you have perceived value. We don't have time for that, especially what's going on in the world. My thing is I want to give you the information that you need to get the result, and only that information, not pad it with a bunch of stuff, okay, that you don't need, okay? So let's talk about how it works. First, there are 4 online core modules, right? And those are delivered in video, audio, and PDF in a membership website. You get all of the templates that you need, literally every template. I'm going to show you everything in a little bit more detail in just a second. And then just for Technology Marketing Toolkit, I am doing 4 live group coaching sessions. So typically there's a monthly group session, but I'm going to do 4. There's 4 main modules I'm going to do 4 coaching sessions, 1 each week, right? Plus you get access to a Webinar Mastery members Facebook group. And then let's go over the core modules. The first module is the pre-production questionnaire. So the minute that you enroll in this, you'll get an email which will give you access to this. By the way, when my clients, private clients hire me, this is what I send out for them to fill out. So you fill this out and it gives you all of the information that you need for module number 2. Module number 2 is the actual template. So here's what you do. You take the answers from the pre-production questionnaire and you fill in the blanks in the template. Now, of course, there's video instruction that guides you through the entire process. Okay, but so each module, so you do module 1 first, so you get all your answers. You go to module 2, you watch the short video. The video is about 45 minutes to an hour long, and then you just fill out the template with the answers you already have. Module number 3 are all of the emails. And again, these are templated. Now I go through a detailed explanation on the tutorial video, but then you actually get the email templates. And so all you've got to do is fill those out. There's actually a bonus email. There's actually 5 emails, and that's one to send immediately to unconverted leads. Okay. Module number 4 is the technology. Well, how do you record it? How do you put up the web pages? How do you do all of that stuff? Again, very simple. Again, the web pages couldn't be any easier. If you remember, you're going to have a very simple landing page with an image on it. Then you're going to have the video page. Then we're going to go over what the questionnaire should look like and what should be on that questionnaire. Remember, because they're going to fill that out before they schedule a consultation with you. Now, then what I've added here is the Technology Marketing Toolkit group weekly Q&A sessions. Those are the dates. The only change in time, most of them will be at 5 p.m. Eastern, because I found that's best for most people because they're done with the day. Or even if you're overseas, this would work for you. So noon Eastern time on the 12th, which is in a week. I think it's today, Thursday. Yeah. So I think it's you'll get access to it. Then on November 12th, we'll have our first Q&A session. So I wanted to give you some time so you can go through, at least the first module to do that. All the calls will be recorded. These are done via Zoom, by the way, and they'll be put into your memberships area. Then you also will get instant access to the Facebook group. By the way, you can see what some other folks have done because folks have posted their short form webinars in the Facebook group, which is pretty cool. So what's the value of this? The done for you service, which I'm not offering. So please, we're not doing that. We're filled up with that. We can't take any more clients. That's not a marketing ploy. We really can't. All right. We're a small operation here and we want to keep it that way. So the done for you service is $12,500, but that's not even available. The original price for this is $5,000. And honestly, the thing to be thinking about is, well, how many clients do I need to get a return on that investment? Not just to make the investment back, but to get a return on it, right? For most of you, it'll be less than 1 client, especially if you're signing up people with MRR, right? Monthly recurring revenue, but it's not $5,000. So today you can get access to this, including everything that we talked about, for $2,400 or 3 payments of $800. And to do that, you simply go to daved.com/TMT. So just open up a new browser window and go to daved.com/TMT. So here's how it works. You'll get instant access to the 4 modules, okay? Boom, you get access to them right away. The next thing is you get paint by the number templates. Every template that you need is in there. The template for the short form webinar, that comes in both Keynote and PowerPoint. So depending on what operating system you're using, there are 4 live group coaching sessions. The link to those group coaching sessions will be in the welcome email that you receive. You're going to get instant access to the private webinar masteries Facebook group. Well, by instant access, I mean, you got to request it, right? But the link is in there and then we'll approve you, obviously, but it gets even better than that. The next thing is you get lifetime access to everything, including the monthly Q&A sessions. So normally when I offer this, I'm offering a monthly Q&A, not a 4-week. But out of respect for Jeff and Robin and the entire Technology Marketing Toolkit team, and I love working with you guys, I really do. And I've worked with so many of you for so many years that I wanted to do the 4 bonus weekly calls, all right? So, but in addition to that, there's a monthly Q&A and you get access to that for life. So every month we do a call and you will also get access to that. And we talk about things, not just short form but really anything to do with webinars or anything to do with one-to-many selling. Now, I've got a special bonus for you, and there's a kind of a funny story behind this. Again, to get access to all of this, simply go to daved.com/TMT. So this is really interesting, I got to tell you. So I was the MC of Robin's last boot camp, and I noticed I was in the green room listening, obviously, and I noticed that a lot of people, were asking about how do you create this origin story. Robin's always talking about the importance of an origin story, and it is important. I mean, you're going to use it on your website. You're going to use it in your feature length webinar. You're going to use it in your short form webinar. You should use it in your marketing doc. It's actually used everywhere, right? So there's a lot of places to use it. So what I did is, since I heard a lot of people saying that, before I talked about this process, I decided, you know what, I'm going to create an origin story workshop. And honest to God, this may sound bad, but it's freaking phenomenal. It really is. If you've ever had trouble saying, well, my story is not entertaining, I don't have a good story, I guarantee you will have a really good story. And by the way, I also share with you how to create the origin story for your business. So if you don't want a personal origin story, but a business origin story, I share with you how to do that, how to make it entertaining and engaging. So that's a bonus that you receive. I'm going to remove every bit of risk from this. Basically, it's very simple. You must be delighted, guarantee. Get it? Dave D, delighted. Okay. So if at the end of 30 days, you decide it's not for you, simply let us know and we'll give you your money back. We've been in business for 20 years. And so if it's not for you, we'll just simply give you your money back. It's no questions asked. It's really that simple. So again, with Webinar Mastery, you receive the 4 online modules. You get all of the templates that you need. You get the 4 live group coaching sessions, right? That's for Technology Marketing Toolkit folks. You get the private Webinar Mastery Facebook group. You get lifetime access to everything, including the monthly coaching sessions, where we talk about a lot more than just a short form webinar. Plus, you get the bonus origin story workshop. So the value of all of that $6,000, if you were one of the first 50 to join, you can get it for $2,400 or 3 investments of $800. It makes no difference to me. Notice that we're not adding on any fees. If you want to do the payment plan, cool. Doesn't make any difference. Whatever you want to do. So you want to go to daved.com/TMT. Now, here's the deal about this. This is not about investing in a course. This is honestly about investing in yourself and your business. This is about you attracting more prospects. It's about you getting a competitive advantage. It's about you educating your prospects before they talk to you, so they are pre-sold on working with you. This positions you as the obvious expert. This is about getting your very best prospects to request time to speak with you because they want to speak with you. They're motivated to speak with you and they're ready to take action. So again, this is everything that you get. Simply go to daved.com/TMT, daved.com/TMT. Just open up a new browser window and you'll get instant access to everything. It's not dripped out, so you can go through it at your own pace. Our first call is Thursday, November 12th. And then there's a call every week after that for 4 weeks. And then you'll be in the monthly calls as well. So Jeff, if there are any questions, I am happy to answer those questions now.
All right, that was fantastic, Dave. I'm going through and really covering everything. You're right. I mean, we spent a whole day down in your office.
Too.
Well, my team spent a whole day with you, and then Danny Hammond on the MAP team spent a whole day with you as well there. So we've both gone through, and it's phenomenal. It really is templated of going through. I mean, you've got the formula that's in place. It's not okay. Let's start from a blank PowerPoint slide deck and create from there, which is where everyone gets stuck. Here, I wanted to also mention with that, because you had your D-Lite guarantee there, your 30-day guarantee, and I know we've been doing these. I think you did it with the webinars, with the overall webinar and selling from stage 3 years ago, 2019 boot camp, or so 2.5 years ago. Here, you were MC for our virtual boot camp in 2020 here, and then this year's boot camp where you introduced the short form webinar. And I'll just let everyone know is that if you you know, Dave is 100% truthful, honest on that. That if you request, I had someone that was 45 days, 60 days later, and it was just, hey, you know what? It's not worth it. If it's not a right fit for you, then it's not a right fit.
That's right.
There, best to decide. You're going to decide pretty quick if you get in there and say, hey, this isn't the right fit, especially with the 4 workshops with it. But you're going to see that it's super easy to be able to do.
So Jeff, let me just,
Yeah.
I'll give you a stat on this thing. This is our lowest. We have this. I probably should charge more. Kennedy would say I should charge more, right? Because of the refund rate. The people requesting their money back is less than 2%. That's not a joke. It's less than 2% on this particular program, because it's easy to follow and it works. So if somebody uses it, it works.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. I mean, we openly publicize that it's, you know, ours for the toolkit, and everyone knows here what Robin delivers with the toolkit is that we've got a 12% refund rate with that, and part of that is because we just open it up, and it's more than worth it for us, and we want to make sure that it's a right fit. You know, 2% is phenomenal
Yeah.
with that of this.
Yeah. And I think that the thing is, I think people know, I mean, so if somebody's thinking about, you know, if they're thinking about, well, I'm going to get my money back, then don't get it. Right. I mean,
Yeah,
but if,
yeah,
you know, if this sounds good to you, then take advantage of this because it's phenomenal. And you can have it up and running quickly.
yeah. So one of the questions that was on here, and this is kind of related of where Danny and the team for the map team came down, was asking, will this be integrated within the technology marketing toolkit map 2.0 format, which is our marketing automation platform for the campaigns, or are we going to need to do this ourselves? I don't believe that we have a standard of it from boot camp. I'll double check, but if we don't have that, we've done it twice internally here. We've got the template that's formulated out. I think for both of us, it's a 30-day sequence that we did, and so you've got it built out even longer than what Dave has on the slides of what he was doing here. And so we can absolutely, if we don't have one, I'll make sure that you can copy it over there, or one of our Sherpas can copy it over to be able to have that campaign in yours.
Oh, that's awesome.
It really is a straightforward campaign. And when you look at it behind the scenes there, I mean, there's complexity to it. I'm not saying it's a dumbed down of anything of a campaign with that, but it's, you know, straightforward of just being able to walk through step by step. And so it'll be an easy one for them to do that. John was asking here, do you have the campaign for other CRMs? You're going to see just step by step with it, John. You're going to get the matrix, the map of it, of exactly of what the campaign should look like. If you're using something other than map, you're going to be able to plug and play. You'll be being able to do it.
You don't have to use map. I mean, yeah. it works with any CRM that has email capability, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Jeff, there's one other bonus, which is a surprise bonus, but since you mentioned the 30-day thing, so I typically like to deliver more than was promised. And so there's an additional bonus that's in there that they'll see, but I think it's important for me to mention it. I wasn't going to, because I like to make it a surprise, but so one of the things I mentioned was that, leads, when a lead is ready, they're ready. And there's certain things that you can do to prep that, to get it ready. But the truth is, when they're ready, you want to be in front of them, right? And so one of the things that I have in there is how to do a weekly, actually a 3-time-a-week flagship email by creating one piece of content. And it will take you, literally got everybody 15 minutes to do this, and you'll get 3 emails out of it from one piece of content. And that way, and then I share with you what to do at the bottom of that email, your weekly communication. So after they run through the sequence, this honestly alone is worth the price of the thing if somebody does it. Then you'll be sending out 3 emails, infotaining, what's called infotaining emails to your list. And that will also dramatically increase your conversion, dramatically increase your conversion rate. So that's a surprise bonus that's in there that they'll get instant access to.
That's awesome. Dave, are you the one that coined the term infotainment?
I don't know. I see a lot of people using it. I've been using it for a really long time.
I probably got it from you because I use that all the time. And when you said that,
Yeah.
I was thinking that I'm wondering if I got that from you. But I'm going through, and people get it. I mean, that's what it really has to be on this, whether it's this 10, 12, 20-minute video, a full webinar series. That is one of the secrets that people do not understand.
Yes.
Is that it has to be infotainment. If it's just pure information or pure entertainment, you don't sell anything typically on that.
Yeah, and you don't get as good. And Jeff, you don't get as good of open rate. I know we're going off on a tangent here, but it's important, right? It's and you don't get as high open rates, right? So what you want is your prospects to actually look forward to getting your emails. And the way that almost everybody does it, doesn't matter what the industry is, but they do it completely wrong.
Yeah.
And so no one wants, they're boring, they're technical, they are, if they're infotaining, so by the way, both of those are important. Deliver information in an entertaining way. You get higher open rates, you get people to like you and trust you, and you get a lot more people scheduling appointments for sure. Yeah. And I teach you exactly how to do that.
Well, and I would say just worth the value of the investment here, just getting on Dave's email list here, because of getting the emails that you have of where it's exactly what when you said that, that's, they're entertaining, but when you look at it where it's like that 20%, it's the opening entertainment, and then you've got whether it's something you're selling or directing them to some content or whatever it might be. But it makes it entertaining. We learn about what type of movies that you and your wife watch and what you like and she likes and everything else. But it's it gets into that of where it's just that entertaining read that I actually go through and read them there oftentimes of getting those emails. We get some questions here. Peter was asking, aren't the completed paint by numbers templates very similar for MSPs due to the commonality in the services they provide? So I'm not sure if this is like, could this be just shared amongst others here, or is it, if I do this, it's going to look too much like someone else's that's in my market? It'll be the second one of being.
It'll be the same format, but so what your title is going to be completely different than somebody else's. Your origin story, and by the way, don't overlook that bonus of the origin story workshop. It's really good. Is going to be completely different. What you teach is going to be completely different. The way that your opening slide is going to look completely different. I mean, so will there be? But that's like saying, well, other MSPs are using postcards, so I'm not going to use a postcard.
Yeah, it really comes down to, and this is in all marketing here, especially for MSPs, of focus on implementing for yourself. If you implement really well of any type of marketing, then you're gonna win compared to if you're just always worried about if someone else potentially has that or might have the same sort of information. People aren't doing this. If you go out and look in your market and look around on emails, social media, ask all of your clients, are they getting 10, 12, 15-minute short form videos? They would hope that they are, because he would be much more well off than he even is right now if everyone was doing it, because Dave's the only one teaching this that I know of. But this is, it can be a strategic advantage by having this and having the materials. And absolutely, Peter. So Peter was saying, I'm not arguing against it, just was wondering how much customization can be done. They're PowerPoint templates there. And so follow the formula. That was the first bullet point on this, is not for you if you can't follow the formula, because there is a formula here to it, but you've got the PowerPoint template there that you're working from, correct, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guide you through it. And then on the 4 live coaching calls, if you've got questions, that's where you would ask those questions, right? Well, I'm confused about. There typically aren't those questions, by the way, because it's really, honestly, very well laid out. It's my best product, and But if you do have questions, that's where we'll handle those. Right. But you feel like your title is going to be, so I just want to make sure everyone is clear. When I say a template, you're not getting an MSP presentation, right? I just want to make sure everyone understands that, right?
Yeah.
This is a step-by-step template that you're going to fill out. So it's uniquely for you and your business. And I'm going to guide you through exactly how to do that.
Yeah,
So
and the advantage that you have here is that you're going to be on calls that are with other IT providers, MSPs here, and so there is some specialty and focus around that. The template you start with, unless Dave's made some changes in the last 4 or 5 months, is the same exact one that for our virtual event software that we started with. And so you start with the template that has the format of all of it there. You're putting this in the specifics, and Dave walks you through those specifics of how to be able to make that your own. And I know Barry was asking, and I know Barry that you mentioned that of a wanting to talk offline, but I'll answer it because this is very close to home for me. Is that of developing business software versus an MSP? Is that it definitely fits. I mean, this is one that we did. Actually, both of the ones for Technology Marketing Toolkit. Yep. Are right around software specifically. So it's our MAP program, our marketing automation program, and then our Big Red virtual event software as well of going through. And so, anything of this, if you've got a professional services business that it does not have to be in that IT services MSP, because as Dave was just saying, is that the template doesn't say MSP version on it there at all. It is the template for being able to develop it out.
Yeah. So that, for example, the financial advisor who I gave that case study, he followed the exact thing, right?
Yeah.
He took that email template and he customized it so it was for himself, and he got tremendous results. So it's for it. What it's not for is if you are trying to sell a product, like let's say you're selling an info product, it's not for that. It's so if you're trying to sell an info product so somebody watches this 12-minute thing and they buy your product, it's not for that. It's for anyone who's needs to get someone to schedule a consultation with them, an appointment, a strategy session, whatever you call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it really drives to. I mean, for ours is an expensive software going through. It's anywhere from 36,000 to 48,000 for the software. We don't have a buy now button. Yeah, I haven't tested that one yet of doing a buy now button at the end of the.
Man, if I could make that work, that would be something. We could sell a $38,000 program with a 12-minute video. Then we've got something.
There you go. All right, going back to some of the questions here. David was asking, how often do you change the video, Dave?
I've been using my same video for a year. But here's the thing, and here's a little trick. Once you do it one time, you're going to know how to do it. And so if you're smart, you would do a second, and then you would do a third on different topics, right? Because different topics are going to appeal to different people. And then what you might find out is, hey, this one topic is really killing it. And then you put some more, lead generation to drive it to that. So you can create as many as you want. Remember, by the way, you get lifetime access to everything, including after the 4 sessions, the monthly sessions. And so if you have an idea, run it by me, run it by the group. So it's not just me, by the way, there's a lot of smart people in the group. And so, or you can post it on the Facebook group as well. So yeah, you want to create multiple things. The other thing, Jeff, that we didn't talk about because it's a little bit different, people have come up with some really great ideas for how to use this. So for example, I've got one client that is actually playing this video. This is super smart in his reception area. So he just has it on a loop. So people who are sitting there are watching it. I'm like, wow. And he says, yeah, people come and they comment about it, like what they learned from the video. And of course, it's really a sales tool. Remember that. So you're delivering education, but it sells. Some other people have had some really good success just posting the video on YouTube, right? And then in the comment section with a link to the thing afterwards. So there's a lot. People are just coming up with really, really great ideas for how they're using this, in addition to the main way that I've been sharing.
Absolutely. With that YouTube strategy, because you don't have to have it. Obviously, with YouTube, you don't get the opt-in I'm sure you can do some fancy retargeting and that type of stuff of someone watching your video
Yep.
on there so that you keep going with it. But you do have it of, like you said, the offer that's in the description, and so it makes it searchable and everything else with it. You've got the ability to post that out or do some things with it.
Well, and think about it. If you pick the right topic, like the topic that the prospect is interested in, they're doing a search, it's going to come up. I mean, it's really strong.
Yeah,
it's short, right? Just like YouTube videos. So we're not watching a 90-minute thing here. That's rough.
Yeah. And as part of it too is that you mentioned it with this, is that you get the format, the template, and you've got to do it once. That's the time consuming part of it is developing out your first one. But 12-minute videos for many people, developing out a full 60, 75-minute webinar,
yeah,
that takes a lot of skill and one that really sells. And Dave's an expert at doing that as well. But doing a 12-minute by following the formula and the template with this, a lot of those pieces are really all the same. Your origin story and all those different pieces. Now you can swap it out so that, Dave, you read off about 6 or 7 different ideas on it. You can take these different versions of cybersecurity of, how to ensure that my business doesn't get hacked, or what to do when my business has been hit by a ransom attack, or whatever it might be. You're right that you can create those. I mean, start with one.
Yeah, start with one. But
Jeff, you're
absolutely
our
right.
spokesperson said 1 in a row is a success. That was his winning, and he was just doing that at Roadshow that we just finished up on here. So get that one. Don't be thinking 8 of putting these together. But once you see it and do it and start getting it out there, is that absolutely that you can create these as these mini content pieces.
Well, right. Because Jeff, here's the thing, you said it, right? So the only thing that changes is the opening and the teaching section. Yeah. The close is exactly the same. The origin story is exactly the same. Literally all that changes is the title, the opening, which I gave everybody, right? And then the content. The close is the same. It's the same thing. Yeah. So once you get the first one done, you can crank out as many as you want. And by the way, people always, everybody, Jeff, as you know, wants new leads. I need new leads. I am telling you, if you have a list, an email list of unconverted leads, the very, very first thing, and when you're on when you come on the coaching calls with me, I'm gonna say this every single time. Send the special email that I've written for you, it's templated, to your list of unconverted leads before you spend a penny on outside marketing, because there's gold. There is gold. That's what that financial advisor did. 28 appointments from leads that were 2 to 3 years old. So,
well, interesting with it real quick on this of I had 2, just speaking to that topic, 2 this week. One person emailed me. I had sent him Dean Jackson's 9-word style email 5 years ago. He emailed me it was Sunday or Monday of this week and said, hey, just wanted to follow up with you. This is 2016 is that he sent it. Just wanted to follow up with you. I signed up for Accelerators Club last week here. He had kept the 9-word email and he was replying back to me with it at that time. He wasn't ready at that time before, but now the timing was right and it matched up and he signed it up for Accelerators Club. Had another one with it. We were sitting in the bar in the Four Seasons Las Vegas, which is where we had Roadshow. And a guy introduced Aaron on our team. You know Aaron. And Aaron said, hey, you look familiar, either a UFC fighter or one of our clients, which is not the normal conversation that we have. IT guys don't usually look like UFC fighters here. And he said, no, I'm one of your clients. I was upstairs. This guy had gotten 16 years ago, had gotten Robin's Our Squirrel letter. It was a letter from the squirrel in Robin's backyard. Saved the letter, didn't do anything with it. 7 years later, apparently we stopped marketing to him, probably thinking, let's stop wasting money on this guy. He's not ever going to buy. he a year later he opted into something because he wanted to keep on getting the marketing. Still wasn't ready to buy. Well, he just signed up for Rapid Implementation Workshop and Accelerators about a month ago here,
That's
and he
incredible.
was there in person. So there is that power in your unconverted leads list of no matter how large that list is.
Yeah, and Jeff, before we get to the next question, there's so many important pieces to this, and everyone focuses on the the new leads and the clients. But the other thing that this will do for you is you're going to get a higher opt-in rate than you will with other things, right? Meaning, so everything,
Absolutely.
yeah, everything is accelerated. Meaning, so you're going to have more, even the people that don't convert right away. And I don't want to make anyone like imply that you're going to put this out there and your calendar is filled overnight. I mean, come on, right? We got to be, more mature than that. But the beautiful thing is that you're going to be generating more leads with this than you will with other methodologies because it's short and it's a video and it's what's happening now online.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And know with this is that someone buying, like you were just saying, if someone buying IT services, looking to change companies, hire someone to do their cybersecurity, whatever it is, you're not one short 12-minute video away from them of calling you up and hiring you here. And even if they go in and opt in for it, where they're looking for that information, not necessarily yet for an appointment with someone, but you're really establishing that there. You're getting the opt in, and that person has that question, is that burning question, and they're opting in because you answered that one. And that question is, I mean, when we sat down for a day, I think we spent 3 hours on the question.
Yeah.
There of working through it. We whiteboarded and we had so many different ideas up there that's what's so important of it, because it's the thing that gets the opt-in there. Couple really good ones that I want to make sure. I know we'll get to all of these here, but I think a few of them that could be in some people's minds. I'm not entertaining like you guys, Robin, etc. Which Drayton, I appreciate the that you're calling myself and Dave entertaining. Dave, you are entertaining with your webinar of going through. Not entertaining in real life, but
yeah, definitely not entertaining in real life. Quite boring, actually. Thank you, Jeff.
But if someone, if they're not entertaining, I mean,
yeah,
they started out as an IT guy, they own an IT business.
I got a better question, and I'd like his answer. Are you passionate? Are you passionate about what you're offering? Right? Do you honestly believe that what you're offering is of tremendous value? If your answer is yes, that's more important, especially, by the way, in the 12-minute. Now, by the way, in the long form webinar, being entertaining is kind of important. And I do teach how to do that. In the 12-minute one, you don't have to be entertaining. It's far more important to be passionate about it so that your prospect can feel the passion that's coming through. By the way, little trick, and you guys did a really good job of this, by the way, Jeff, is here's a little hack for people who are not funny, who will never be funny, who will never be entertaining. Your images can make it entertaining. And so if you notice, I had that picture of those two kids at the beginning, right? With the money and smiling. Everyone smiles, everyone chuckles at that every single time I show that picture. I don't have to be funny. And so we in the program, we teach you, how to get these images, because you don't want to just be all words. You want some images. And Jeff, what I'm saying, you guys took so you took the general template and then you added images to it and made it phenomenal for what you're doing, which is what makes it entertaining.
Yeah,
so you don't need
absolutely.
to be entertaining. Yeah, you don't need to be entertaining. You do need to have conviction and be passionate about what you're doing. So if you come across like you're bored, well, that's no good. But again, we share with you how to record it and how to be passionate and all that, but you got to have it inside you.
So Thomas was asking another one that was a good one here, because you were talking about going back to the unconverted leads list. How do we begin this process if we don't have a list?
So if you don't have a list, whatever way you're doing marketing, and in the in the toolkit that you guys have, well, first of all, if you don't have the toolkit, to be quite honest with you, you got to get the toolkit. Period. period, over and out. I mean, you need the toolkit because that's going to show you, I don't know how many different ways that you teach to generate leads in that thing. I mean, there's a bazillion ways. But you've got to get the toolkit from Technology Marketing Toolkit. Honestly, it's phenomenal. So if anyone on here doesn't have that, get that. Then you're going to, whatever way you're going to traditionally generate leads. Obviously, you won't be able to use the strategy about emailing your unconverted leads, but you can use Facebook, you can use LinkedIn, you can use postcards, you can use all of the stuff that they teach at Technology Marketing Toolkit. For sure, you can use, I've used display ads, full page ads in magazines where it was an article and at the end, the call to action was to come online. So and you can use radio. There's whatever ways that you generate leads for your business. But I want to make this clear. This is not a course about how to generate leads, right? I'm not an expert at that. I'm an expert at what we're talking about here, right? So, but if you're doing marketing and if you're not generating leads, well, then you got to start generating leads. This is just a superior way to do it.
Absolutely. Of where it's the all of the above of what you just mentioned that you can drive, of where, especially if you get the question right, then it doesn't matter of where it's at. So it can be a list, it can be on LinkedIn, it can be. We've done this with LinkedIn in-mail messages or ones that are to people that we've already connected with, one-off inside salesperson or frontline salesperson that's sending it directly to someone to be able to get it and getting those opt-ins off of it. It doesn't have to be that you've got 500, 1,000, 2,000 people on a list here, or even having, unconverted leads is phenomenal. Of being able to have those because that's a great list to be able to start with.
Well, yeah, that's how you get your money back, literally almost instantly. But if you don't have it, this is a great thing to drive traffic to. So this is not a traffic course. Okay. So I don't want to make sure everyone's clear about that. Not a traffic course, but it is a lead generation tool. Right now, it's the best lead generation tool that there is.
Yeah, so a couple questions that were around this. Bobby was asking here, does this offer expire today? I know the first workshop is on the 12th, so it's next Friday, I believe. It's for the first, it expires after the first 50, right? Okay. So once we hit 50, that's it. And the reason for that is I can't have 200 people on the Q&A calls, right? Especially the weekly ones, because I just won't be able to answer everybody's questions. Yep. And the truth is I really wanted... here's the truth behind this, Jeff. I really wanted that to be 25, but I forgot. Until I told you how many people were registered for the webinar.
I forgot to change it. Yeah, I forgot to change it. I really did. That's not a joke. So now I got to go with it. Right.
John.
So by the way, let me just the reason to get this is not because there's a deadline on it. That's not the reason to get it, whether you're one of the first 50. And you'll know if the page is still up, you're one of the first 50. The reason to get it, though, is not because there's some deadline around it. The reason to get it and to get instant access to it and to start using it is because you're going to generate better leads, higher quality leads. You're going to get more appointments. The leads are going to be not totally sold, but know you, like you, and trust you before they get on the call with you. And you're going to be talking to your very best prospects. And once you've got everything, it's not difficult to put together. So that's the reason to get it now. It's not because there's a deadline. There is, but that's not the reason to get it. The reason to get it is because it's going to increase your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Bobby's the marketing director there at her company. And so I know there's a few people, because I got a few questions that were asked around this, that had to get the okay from the boss,
of course,
just for that spend with it. So I'm guessing with Bobby, that was her reason on that question of just wanted to make sure of how quick, which she's saying right here and here, it's exactly there what I mentioned. So
gotcha.
So yeah, go check in with the boss and and get that done with it. So John was asking here, do you have a preferred or recommended platform to run the webinars from?
Oh, this is where it gets beautiful. There is no platform, right? There's no platform to run it on. It's a page with a video on it. You don't need special webinar platform. Yeah. You need somewhere to host it. So I use Vimeo. There's a bunch of hosting. By the way, I would not recommend YouTube. So I use Vimeo. It's very inexpensive because all you need is a place to host the video so it can be shown on the page. There's no webinar software necessary. Remember, you're not making people choose a time to watch it, and all of that kind of stuff. No, they give you their name and email address. They get instant access to it. So you don't need any special technology to make that work.
Yeah. Do you need any editing tools, fancy video type of stuff, or frame transitions,
Nope.
dropping graphics, content?
Nope, and nope. So mostly, and this is what works here. And again, and I don't know why this works. I just know that it works. And not only have I tested it, but it's been tested, like really, really tested. The majority of this video is going to be your script on the screen. So you're actually going to be reading the script, and there's something hypnotic about it where you're seeing when someone is seeing the words flash on the screen, the script, and hearing. So that's what it's mostly going to be. What you need is a microphone, right? So I've got, a microphone here was like $50. And my guess is you probably already have a microphone, and you need PowerPoint or Keynote. That's what you need.
Yep. Yeah. And then speaking of tricky things here, I know Thomas was asking this early on here, that Blackboard agenda tool. Where do you get that to check it off?
The Blackboard agenda tool, huh? So is it Thomas? So Thomas,
yeah.
I hate to disappoint you, my friend. What that is an image. All that is an image. I went on, I use Dreams Time, but there's no magic in that, by the way. iPhoto, any, where you get copyright free photos. I got a picture of that woman with a blackboard, and then I use a font so it looks like chalk, and then I simply animate the line. That's it. So there's no, I know it looks cool, right? But there's no technology behind that.
That is very tech savvy for you there, Dave.
That actually is about as tech savvy as I get, by the way. The very basic animations. Yeah.
All right. Thomas said he just now ordered.
Oh, congratulations. Welcome aboard. Looking forward to talking to you. By the way, if you can't make all of the Q&A calls,
that actually did it, Dave, is that your answer up to him of the Blackboard, and he hit the buy button on the page. Well, you didn't have a good answer for that. That was a make or break.
Well, right as a bonus on one of the Q&A calls, if he wants me to show him exactly how to do it, I can absolutely do it.
All right.
Yeah, and by the way, if you can't make all the Q&A calls, they will be recorded, and I do recommend that you listen to them because a lot of good stuff comes out of them. But remember, in addition to the 4 weeks of calls that I'm doing for Technology Marketing Toolkit for folks who get in on this, there's also a monthly call that you have access to for life, right? So if you miss, don't panic like, oh, I can't make one of the calls. It's all good. Because you'll have plenty of opportunities to talk directly with me, and I do the calls. So I don't hire, it's me. So you'll be able to talk directly with me.
Yeah, absolutely. So one last one. This was somewhat early on here when you were going through some of the formula, is that the questionnaire that you talked about on those, do you have a certain formula that you use with those, or the questionnaire?
Yeah, and we go over that I think that is module number 4. Yes, module number 4. We go over it. Here are some basic tips I can give you on that. First, don't overcomplicate it, right? So the idea here is really to get people to comply. It's not to get their, so I had a financial advisor who I work with, and his questionnaire was like 3 pages long. I'm like, no, man, that's, that's a lot to ask. Now, obviously the person that fills that out is serious, but so I like to ask about 5 questions. And it's really just to, hey, like, this is a serious thing. And so then it leads to the calendar page. I also have people, just so you know, that bypass the questionnaire completely and just link directly to I like a questionnaire, but I've got people who said, no, I just bypass it and they just click and get on my calendar. So, and then they maybe do a questionnaire after it, or maybe not. So make it simple, right? So we're not asking, the harder you make it, obviously the better the prospect is going to be when they get on the call. But some people make it so hard that they don't get anybody, right? Because it's too complicated, or you're asking too much stuff. So I asked 5 questions.
There's definitely a balance of that. I know Robin's done that on some of it with cybersecurity assessments or the things there of where that there's a questionnaire page. But sometimes if you're not getting any leads, throw in a hurdle for them to go through. You might as well get, even if you get some unqualified that are out there, that you end up having a call with them, or you do something that you have that consultation with them. It's better that you just get the practice and you're going through of getting some of those instead of holding things up. And so it's all a balance. It all depends on the list that you're going after and everything else. I mean, an example of that, I've got some that are working so well with marketing campaigns that we're sending them out to 3,000 people at a time. And I'm getting about a 1% opt-in rate. Well, wow. I can on that be a little bit more selective to be able to make sure, because that's 30 appointments that are coming in each time that I send out that campaign.
Right.
Well, now I can be selective on it. I can put some hurdles in front to be able to make sure that we get a sweet spot client or prospect there that's going to be a right fit there. Maurice, I don't know if we're probably going to disappoint you here, but Maurice, as the last question, Dave, is can Dave show us a magic trick?
No. Hey, if they come to the boot camp, Jeff, when they come to the boot camp, I do my whole show there.
There you go.
So that's the key. You gotta get to the boot camp.
No, which was phenomenal with that there of doing. We did a night session with Dave of a mentalist session there. And I think someone got pregnant because of it, which was really weird.
Yes. So that's another benefit, or maybe not, right?
Dave, it's been great of going through this.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it, guys. So daved.com/TMT. It is a phenomenal program that Dave's put together. If you're still on here right now and you're still skeptical about it, then I don't know what you'll have with it. But Alan, I know you posted, will this be available on the dashboard? We'll actually have it posted up. We'll send out a link with the recording of Dave's session today here. You'll get that just because you registered. But with Dave, thank you again so much for doing this and carving out the time. I know you're super, super busy with it, but it was worth taking the red eye and getting back here to hang out with you for a few hours.
I was just going to thank you from flying back for Vegas just to be here, not to sleep in your own bed.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody. Right. I had a great time. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Dave.